smart. He reads pretty well where the defense.
Tough loss for the Spurs to the Phoenix Suns tonight, 121-107. This is Spurs React. I'm Chris Duel. Bill Schoening speaking with Spurs assistant coach Matt Nielsen right now. Let's listen in.
35 minutes, Matt. That's the way it used to be the gunner, right, for the Australian team. Did you ever take 33 shots over in Australia?
I think over a whole tournament I might have taken 33 shots. Yeah.
As you move forward now, obviously you got some young guys, and I wanted to ask you about Zach Collins because he is now active. He's with the Austin Spurs. He played earlier tonight. And what you're expecting from Zach, I know that you've had a chance to work with him some, and I know it's been difficult for him not to be able to get back in there.
Hey, Joe Garcia.
What are his, realistic expectations for him this season?
Look, to be honest, this is just part of the process, and it's a really fun. He put in so much hard work to get to this point over.
Miguel Castro, welcome.
4 months, so just a great day for him, and we're all happy for him. But we're not really got too many expectations. There's different steps that he will keep working on to get to where he needs to. But this was just that first hit out, so I'll be looking forward to catching up and speaking to him tomorrow, see how he pulled up and all of that stuff. But like I said, a really good day.
Sandra Perez, Jerome Sosa, Sam Berg, Dave Emilio Castanuela, Peter Villarreal, welcome. Lucinda Sullivan.
7-footer, like he's agile, he can shoot the ball. But look, all that stuff is coming, and he's worked hard. That's the one thing. It's his work ethic and tenacity of just making sure he's doing every little bit, like with the performance staff, medical, and us. He's been fantastic and good guy to have around and very invested in the team. So that's a great part to be adding. And then, like I said, he's a very versatile big. And we're looking forward to getting to see him with us. But like I said, there's no immediate return right now. It's just him getting into that onto the basketball court is a fantastic day.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for the visit. We appreciate it, Matt.
No worries. Okay. You take care.
Okay, Matt Nielsen talking earlier about Zach Collins, who had a chance to make his debut with the Austin Spurs. In fact, I think Chris Duel will have a few details on that game coming up when we check in with Chris here in just a little bit. Again, the final 121-107, Phoenix over San Antonio. This is Spurs Radio.
All right.
1932.
That was Bill.
At Fox Tech High School.
Bill mentions the Austin Spurs game. I'll go ahead and pull that up.
Today, we're known as First Mark Credit Union, evolving not only in name, but in services and
Brian Zuniga, welcome in.
Our commitment to education.
Nicole, good evening. Leland Bruce. John Williams.
All of our children.
Yeah, Spurs led going into the fourth quarter. This was tough.
Hey folks, it's me, sort of Spurs legend Matt Bonner. I've been doing so good on TV, they gave me a podcast. It's called Spurslandia, a new super cool series about sports, pop culture, sandwiches, and of course, Spurs basketball. All hosted by me, Matt Bonner. Never heard of him? No worries. It'll have famous people too, from athletes to actors and a whole lot more. Head over to spurs.com/Spurslandia to give it a listen. Spurslandia. It's a podcast.
Ready on take one?
Ready.
Okay, this is a crucial moment of the audiobook, The Big Escape.
Chapter 9. They had waited long enough when finally the clock struck midnight and...
Wait, where are you going? Nope.
When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the beefy melting Fiesta veggie burritos. Just $2 each, only at Taco Bell. And that's my time.
I'm not the voiceover guy too, but guess I'll read the legal copy.
Josh Primo, 21 points tonight for the Austin Spurs. Devontae Kaycock, 26. Pretty nice. Here comes Bill.
Performance for the Spurs brought to you by BMW of San Antonio. Jakob Poeltl, 9 for 12 for the field. An encouraging 5 of 7 from the free throw line. 23 points, not his season or career high. That is 27 against the Lakers earlier this season, but he had 14 rebounds. So he's within 2 of his career high on the boards and within 4 of his career high on the points. He also had 4 assists in this game. He had 2 blocks. He was charged with 3 turnovers, but in 29 minutes and 36 seconds, he filled up the stat sheet. 23 points and 14 boards for Jakob Poeltl. Ultimate performance brought to you by BMW of San Antonio. All right, let's take a look at individual scoring in this one. For the Suns, you got to start with Devin Booker. As I just mentioned with Matt Nielsen, he took 33 shots tonight. 18 of 33, 5 of 13 beyond the arc, 7 of 8 from the line. Adds up to 48 points. They tried to get him 50. He tried 2 shots late in the game for 50, but missed both of them. And then at that point, Monty Williams cleared the bench. Among the starters, Booker led the way, obviously, with 48. The only other starter in double figures, Chris Paul, with a double-double, 15 points and 12 assists. 8 points for Jay Crowder to go along with 5 boards. 6 points for JaVale McGee, who actually got more production from the backup center. Bismack Biyombo, more of that in a moment. 6 points, 8 boards for JaVale McGee, starting in place of DeAndre Ayton. And Mikal Bridges, 7 points and 5 boards. Ayton out with a sprained ankle. 17 points for Bismack Biyombo, along with 14 rebounds for the veteran from Democratic Republic of Congo. Cameron Payne had 11 points off the bench. 8 for Cameron Johnson. Landry Shamet did not have a field goal, have 1 single point. That's up to 121 for Phoenix. A little more balance on the Spurs side, led by Jakob Poeltl's 23 points and 14 rebounds. 18 for DeJounte Murray, who also had 8 rebounds and 4 assists this evening. 14 points and 7 assists for Derek White. 15 points for Doug McDermott on 6 of 10 shooting. He had a couple of threes. And 14 points and 7 boards for Keldon Johnson. The bench did not play as well as the bench has in the past. Devin Vassell was 4 of 12. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Lonnie Walker just 1 of 6. He had 4 points. Keita Bates-Diop was 1 of 6. He had 3 points. 5 for Jock Landale, who was 2 of 4. Landale was charged with 3 turnovers, however. A single point for Drew Eubanks, and Joe Wieskamp played the final 2:49 and did not score. 121 for the Suns, 107 for the Spurs. The Spurs see their record drop to 16 and 28, and the Suns 34 and 9. Next up for the Spurs, a date with Oklahoma City. That's Wednesday night, and that game will tip at 7:30. We will be on the air at 7 o'clock with Spurs Radio Game Night. Spurs Radio postgame show continues in a moment.
All right, that was Bill. Yeah, Spurs led going into the fourth quarter 91-87, and the Suns outscored them in the fourth quarter 34-16. So sadly, the Suns turned it on, and the Spurs kind of collapsed there in the fourth quarter. They were hanging with him. They were looking good.
He's done. Can you do the next one?
Yeah, so I'm doing the next two.
Yes.
Is that where we are? Okay,
Yes.
sure. Field goal for Arizona, 31-11. That's still virtually no chance for Arizona. The Rams will advance to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see. Nicole says, good effort, but have to play hard for all 4 quarters to win against a team like the Suns. Totally agree. Now, Suns are the best team in the NBA. Somebody in here said that. They've got the best record in the NBA, which is now 34-9 and 17-4 on the road. So, I mean, they're the gold standard, and you hung with them for 3 quarters. But the Suns, with a 17-4 run midway through the fourth, that was it.
What's in your wallet? Savings and available coupon codes vary.
Here we go. Quick little radio segment. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score from the AT&T Center. The Phoenix Suns beat the San Antonio Spurs 121-107. Programming note on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI, and streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages. Our Spurs React is coming up. Let's update the scores in the NBA. We'll give you scores in progress, just one score in progress, everything else final. Jazz lead the Lakers very early, 17-13, 4:28 to go in the first quarter there. Everything else final tonight. Celtics beat the Pelicans 104-92. It was the Hornets over the Knicks 97-87. Wizards beat the 76ers 117-98. Cavaliers topped the Nets 114-107. Grizzlies beat the Bulls 119-106. Clippers over the Pacers 139-133. Hawks beat the Bucks 121-114. Trailblazers over the Magic 98-88. Heat over the Raptors 104-99. And the Mavericks barely over the Oklahoma City Thunder 104-102. Don't forget, Thunder come into San Antonio Wednesday night to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Once again, the final score, the Phoenix Suns beat the San Antonio Spurs 121 to 107. Spurs Radio continues in a moment. So we've got.
I need the ID when we come back.
Oh, did you say that? I didn't hear you say ID earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, we're still not yet at 10. I'll do that next. Taro Kotani is in here from Tokyo tonight. Welcome, Taro. There's a full moon over the United States. Might be daytime in Tokyo. And Ofa Lin joining us from Singapore. Kurt Jordan, hello.
Blue Cross will continue to champion innovation, helping lead the way toward a more user-friendly healthcare experience well into the future.
Yeah, Nets losing to the Cavs is a surprise, but Louisa, Kevin Durant is out, I think 6 to 8 weeks with a knee issue. I think I heard 6 to 8 weeks. So they did have Kyrie Irving tonight, and I think James Harden. There is Ofa Lin. Ofa Lin joins us from Singapore tonight and frequently. She and Taro Kotani, two of our international friends who join us from far away from Texas. Good to have you. Good to have everybody. Sorry the Spurs lost. Not a good couple of days for both of us, or for most of us. Cowboys lose and get eliminated. Ouch. And Spurs lose tonight, although Spurs won the other day. Foamfoot 420 saying it is a wolf moon tonight. I saw it rising earlier, and it looks pretty cool. By the way, my Spurs Dia de los Muertos t-shirt. Notice basketballs for eyes, the Alamo for the chin.
ID.
Pretty cool. All right, here we go. Michael Bartlett asking me to do some radio here. I guess we can do that. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score from the AT&T Center. The Phoenix Suns beat the San Antonio Spurs 121 to 107. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves along the Spurs radio network.
Radio 1200 WOAI, San Antonio's breaking news, traffic, and weather.
Once again, coming right up on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI, our Spurs React. We also stream live video of Spurs React on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages. All that after a quick wrap-up from Bill Schoening at the AT&T Center, where the Spurs fall tonight to the Phoenix Suns, 121 to 107. Spurs Radio continues in a moment.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers.
All right. So it is a wolf moon, says Foamfoot 420.
For teaching grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Anna. Okay, your other lap.
Michael Phillips says, what's up with the Spurs? Well, the biggest thing tonight, I would say, and the Spurs could have won this game tonight, and they played Phoenix very well earlier in the season at Phoenix. And this is the third game this year against Phoenix. Spurs have played them fairly well. Biggest thing is two things. One, Suns are the best team in the league. Two, Spurs led going into the fourth quarter 91-87 and gave up a 17-4 run to Phoenix. Let's see. Axel J. Miller joins us from Denver. That's 6 games in a row that I have watched, all losses. Well, why didn't you watch the other night against the Clippers, Axel? Maybe it's good you didn't watch that one. Maybe the Spurs would have lost that one if you watched.
The NBA's next. Right here, right now. We're the young, the hungry, the ready. Heard enough? See for yourself. Witness tomorrow's All-Star.
Let's see.
Spurs. NBA G League's Austin.
Ofa Lin says, I had hoped we were going to win. Me too. Travis, I've never heard you say anything critical about the Spurs, always positive and optimistic. Will you ever say anything critical about them instead of defending them? Yeah. Shouldn't have given up a 17-4 run. Should have won this game. You're leading in the fourth quarter on your own floor. So I don't think that's accurate, Travis. you make great comments, but I'm realistic about the Spurs.
From the AT&T Center, the Phoenix Suns with the win over the San Antonio Spurs, 121-107. This has been a presentation of Spurs Sports and Entertainment and the National Basketball Association. All rights reserved. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, the other night when the Spurs lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to, somebody was in here saying, Chris, what's wrong with you? You're usually positive about the Spurs. So I can't win for losing. 5.
No. I mean to 10 as far as like 10.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Just like the other day, I misunderstood you. The other day you said 15. I go, no, 7. So, yeah, I will, whatever I do, somebody's going to say I'm.
10-10.
Okay, man. Mary Anthony, the Spurs good luck charm. I know Mary wasn't at the Spurs game because Mary is the Spurs good luck charm. And when Mary is at the game, the Spurs win 99.4% of the time.
This is pretty ideal. We could keep going on like this forever. I'm fine with that.
But that doesn't change the need for information to get you through the day.
Michael, I think it's an interesting point you make. Michael says the fans are staying home. How long can they financially do this? There's a pandemic, and at the moment, COVID-19 with this Omicron variant, a few days ago, we reached the peak. I hope it was the peak in Bexar County and in Texas. As here we go, as far as infections. So I don't think you can be objective till this slows down a little bit. Here we go. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Tough night tonight for the San Antonio Spurs in the fourth quarter. It didn't look like it was going to be a tough night. Spurs led going into the fourth quarter, 91-87. Welcome in. This is Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. I'm Chris Duel. Michael Bartlett makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end. And we are streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages, which is brings in, among other things, an international audience, which we really enjoy. Taro Kotani, the greatest international Spurs fan, joining us today under this full moon, a wolf moon, by the way. Amber told me in the live video feed. So we've got Taro from Tokyo, Ofa Lin from Singapore. And I just got a question from Michael Phillips on Facebook. Michael says, Chris, are we going to make the playoffs this year? I'm still quite confident that there will be postseason, whether it'll be playoffs, I think a 7 or an 8 seed, or a 9 or a 10 that gets you to a play-in situation. With the loss tonight, the Spurs fall to 16-28. They are now 2.5 games behind the 10 slot. Portland is in the number 10 slot right now. With the loss, the Spurs are 2.5 behind Portland. So they need to get on the winning track. They've lost a few lately, which is tough. So, but I have a feeling now as these players start coming back from health and safety protocols, and the Spurs tonight were at not full strength, but at better strength tonight than they've been in a long time. And it showed on the court through 3.5 quarters. This game was nip and tuck. No team led by double digits in the first half. The Spurs trailed by 3 at halftime. The Spurs took the lead. They led by 8 a couple of times in that third quarter. They led at the end of 3, 91-87. Then things went south. And it was a fourth quarter run by the Phoenix Suns, a 17-4 run that really opened this up for the Phoenix Suns. So it was a tough loss for the Spurs, but they hung with, and let's don't forget, Phoenix is the best team record-wise in the NBA. They've got the best record in the NBA at 34-9. They've got the best road record in the NBA at 17-4. So the Spurs took on the best of the best tonight, at least record-wise, and hung with them and led going into the fourth quarter and had an opportunity to win had they hung in there in the fourth and not allowed that 17-4 run. Looking at some numbers for the Spurs, Jakob Poeltl led the Spurs in scoring with 23 points. He had 14 rebounds, so a double-double for Jakob. 18 points for DeJounte Murray to go with 8 rebounds. 15 points for Doug McDermott, a.k.a. Dougie McBuckets. All starters were in double figures. Keldon Johnson, 14 points and 7 rebounds, and Derek White, 14 points and 7 assists. Starters looked really good tonight. You only had one player off the bench in double figures. That was Devin Vassell with 10. It all adds up to a tough loss for the Spurs. But again, I emphasize, and I'm proud of the fact that they were in this thing and leading going into the fourth and had an opportunity to win it in the fourth. That's the good news. The bad news, the 17-4 run in the fourth by Phoenix and the loss to the Phoenix Suns, 121-107. Spurs will try again on Wednesday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tip-off just after 7:30. Our Spurs radio game night, 7 o'clock with Bill Schoening. Our thanks to Bill. Another great call as always. Our thanks to Sam Walters, statistician Walter Stoops, and the man who makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end is Mr. Michael Bartlett, a.k.a. the Mr. Rogers of Sports Talk Radio. It's always a beautiful day in his neighborhood, except when the Cowboys get eliminated from the playoffs and the Spurs lose, which has happened in each of the last 2 consecutive days. Translation, you don't want to talk to Michael Bartlett tonight. Maybe on Wednesday night. We thank Michael for all of his great work. For all those gentlemen, I'm Chris Duel. We will see you on Wednesday night. Once again, the final score, Suns 121, Spurs 107. You've been listening to Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.